Why would someone who is married go out of their way specifically to do something that their spouse would hate? It's your buddy Muju's Magic here, and the reason I bring this up is because when I got up this morning, the first thing I did after going to the restroom was lay back down and look at my cell phone because I'm a slave to my device. And when I look at my cell phone, what pops up on Facebook is one of those "Am I the a-hole" things. And the question the guy posited was, is he the a-hole because his wife wants to get a tattoo and he doesn't like where she wants to get it? And the way he worded it, at first my brain goes, okay, well, is the tattoo artist at that tattoo parlor like an ex or something? Like, and then I'm like, okay, let's read it and see what he means. And it had nothing to do with the location of where to go get the tattoo done. It was where she wants it on her body. This is why you always read the rest of the context, folks. Don't just skim the headline. There's no TLDR if you want to actually learn anything. You got to actually read the articles. So I read down, and what it is the location that she wants the tattoo placed on her body is what he takes issue with. And that is she wants a hummingbird between her collarbone, below her collarbone, and between her breasts. He doesn't like that. It's unappealing to him for whatever reason. He doesn't like that it shows off in every single shirt, etc. And he says, well, this causes a lot of fights and arguments between she and I, but it's my wife and I have to look at her kind of thing. It was his gist of it. But he was wanting to know if he was the asshole for that. And, let me know in the comments below before I give mine. I can already hear the tip-tip-tapping of at least 15 million feminist voices around the world running through their fingertips. Keep it civil. I'll respect whatever it is your opinion here because there's a lot of different ways this could go. And the comments of this particular Facebook post showed it. It was very split. And so I would assume the comments will be as well. But let's be respectful of each other's thoughts down in the comments and have a polite argument down below if you don't agree with somebody else, please. Now, here's my take on it. Marriage is a contract. It's like, ladies, if you stop sleeping with your spouse, you're violating that contract. It's a thing. I know you don't think so, but it is. It's a form of adultery. If you are having no relations with your husband and not taking care of his needs, you're violating that marriage contract. And guys, if you aren't doing things women need from you, then you are violating that marriage contract. But there's like a balance of what you're willing to take versus what you're willing to, leave over. And marriage, the 50% of marriage failing thing is a bullshit rate. It always has been. We've never had a 50% marriage fail. It's just not a real thing. It is getting pretty close, though, in this day and age because people have become more and more self-centered, more and more selfish. Now, when you are if you're going to go get your hair dye done, yeah, your husband, that might frazzle your husband a little bit if he doesn't want you to have blue hair for a couple months. It might get on his nerves. So maybe don't do it. Or maybe just say, hey, this is going to be temporary. Let me at least see how it looks. Maybe it'll grow on you and negotiate from there. You can't do that with a fucking tattoo. It's a tattoo. It's there. I know. I have tattoos. I plan on getting a lot more tattoos. And I guarantee I check with the spouse before getting any fucking more tattoos because she has to look at them. I don't get my tattoos visible where they're visible for everyone because my tattoos all have direct meaning to me. Nobody else really needs to see them unless I want them to see them. They're personal. They're there as marks on my body that I want to have. That's it. Now, everybody's different about tattoos. Some people just want bullshit tattoos, stupid tattoos, as I've heard people call them. I have friends that have what they call stupid tattoos, and they love them. Cool, good on them. That's their body. But every one of these fucking guys that's married checks with his spouse. And most of the women that I know that get tattoos check with their spouse. In fact, most of the women that I know that are married couples, their spouse wants them to get that tattoo. I like girls with a little bit of ink, not too much. Look, if I'm married to you, I have to look at you and I have to continue to be attracted to you. It's like letting yourself go. Why are you doing that? If there's not a severe health issue and you let yourself go and let your looks go, don't be surprised when your significant other starts looking at other people. Because, guys, physical feelings and emotional feelings are attached. Contrary to popular belief lately, sexual feelings are more intense with someone that you are physically attracted with and emotionally attached with. And that's a fact. The more you're attached with both of these things, the far more passionate the lovemaking can be at things like that, and sometimes a lot more fun. Now, that's just the booty part of it, guys. But this is the physical look of it. But this just goes beyond just the physical look of, okay, well, he has to look at you all the time and be attracted to you, or vice versa, ladies. Guy, if you're not going to the gym and staying in shape and you're getting fat, your girlfriend's probably looking at other dudes. That's just fucking reality, boy. She might not be stepping out, but she's stepping out mentally. And that's the first step to stepping out emotionally. Just a fucking heads up. Maybe get your ass in the gym just a little bit. Shed a couple pounds, boys. You know, some girls like honky boys, big chunky motherfuckers. Some dudes like that, just like some guys like fat chicks. To each their own. To each their own. But keep in mind, going into a relationship in one way and changing during that relationship can alter the course of that relationship. The way you are when you get married is kind of what your spouse is intending to have for the rest of your fucking life in both directions. If you put up a bullshit front and your spouse only finds out about it afterwards, you've already violated that contract of marriage because you went in with a fake idea of who you are. Now, there is personal growth that happens after marriage, but you at least need to work with your spouse and say, hey, I didn't expect this. Here's where my mind is. And then you need to be respectful of how your spouse is going to react to that, period. And this is both directions, dudes, girls. This is for fucking both of you. This is not a one-way street for just women to follow through. Guys, you got to maintain a certain course. We're all going to change. I become more curmudgeon and assholey over my time. And my spouse has had to deal with that. But I've always been there when needed, and I've always gotten shit done when it gets needed to be done. And it's so weird to think that people would want to go out of their way to piss off their spouse. But I'm reading these comments and her body, her choice. Well, no, it's not. You got married. It's no longer the case. It's your body and your choice. That's a bullshit argument. So if you're typing that in, you better justify it, because once you get married, you get married. You're linked together. That's the contract. That's what you're signing on for. Now, we live in a culture today where we don't seem to care about promises. We break promises all the time. I hate saying the term I promise about fucking anything unless I'm about to do it and get it accomplished. Period. I don't like to say I promise anything unless I damn well intend to do it. And the reason is because my dad used to break a lot of fucking promises to me. And it used to irk me as a kid. So I don't promise shit to my kids. Your word should be your vow. When you say you're going to fucking do something, do it. And that's it. You don't have to add that caveat of I promise. It just means that now you better fucking do it or I'm never going to trust your ass again. Women will make promises all the fucking time and never keep them. But if a fucking guy makes a promise and doesn't keep it, he's fucked. So here we are. Now, it is not your body, your choice anymore. You're married. And guys, the same shit goes for you. Now, I do believe in the hierarchy of marriage, man then woman, period. That's it. It's biblical. It's fundamentally like natural. It's just how it works. We're stronger than you. We're bigger than you. And that's it. Like, you will eventually be subjugated to our whims if we want that to happen. I know it sounds terse. It sounds like a terrible way to say it, but that is the natural order of things. There's a reason that the lion makes the lionesses do all the hunting and plows every lioness in the tribe or in their little thing, the pride, I think is what they call it. You would think I would know that off the top of my head, having been raised in Africa. Just kidding. Never even been there once. But look, I really want to know your guys' input here because I'm not torn on it. This is not a 50-50 argument for me. This is not a 70 fucking 30 or whatever. This is a clear argument. You're married and just do what your spouse likes or doesn't like. And if you want to have a tattoo that bad, negotiate where to get it. Did you want this tattoo going into the marriage is another question. Did you say to him, you intend on getting a tattoo like that before you got married? Because that would alter things. It wasn't specified in the story. At least not that I recall, and I read it. So Yeah, I don't know. You let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Why would you do something, though? I think is the main question. Why would you do something specifically to bother your spouse that's going to be permanent to your body? What that tells me is that you are detaching yourself from that marriage. That's what that says to me, is that you've made the decision that you are not going to be with this person to fulfill that contract to the end. You're going to end the contract. That's what it tells me. Now, women will do a thing where they intentionally push men away. That is a thing women do. Men will just give you the cold shoulder and then fuck your best friend on your birthday, and then leave you for her, especially if she's in better shape and can cook and doesn't bitch at you all the time. Seen it happen. Seen it happen a lot of times. I'm not a fan, but it does happen. Women will push you away and push you away for years. And men, we're very resilient. So we will let women tear us to fucking shreds for decades before finally relenting and not being able to fucking take anymore. And then our head pops and we go, hey, either spousal violence that ends in the guy going to prison and her going to the ground, or a bad divorce. Sometimes it's an okay divorce, but it's very seldom. When a divorce happens, it's not usually copacetic. It's not usually on the better terms. And it's always because the women have the upper hand. And women are vindictive, horrible creatures that want to take everything from the guy, even if they're the ones in the wrong completely. And that is a thing that can happen. And it does happen a fucking lot. But women, one thing I want to say to you, if you're trying to push, and guys too, some guys do this. If you're trying to push your spouse away, your marriage is over. I mean, if you want to try to keep your marriage going, that's fine, but you need to realize, you need to come to terms with yourself that you've decided to end this relationship. You have put the nail in the coffin of this relationship. This has been your choice. And the guy shouldn't have to suffer, or your spouse shouldn't have to suffer by you trying to snag everything you can from them because you feel offended because they didn't like something that changed in you as you got older. What you should do, if you ever had any care or respect for that spouse, is to go to them directly and say, hey, one of two options. One, we go to marriage counseling because I'm fucked up in my head and admit it's your fault. Or two, and this is in this kind of situation. This is in every situation, guys. Just to clarify, this is situation specific. Every situation is different. The second option is to say, hey, I'm going to leave. And I want you to have a good life, and I want to maintain a friendship, and I'm sorry this is going to hurt you, but I'm changing in a way that's negative. I've been pushing you away, and I'm not doing anything but tearing you down. And just be honest about it. Just be honest. And then leave copacetically, and leave them all of their shit. Because he's going to need something to rebuild that life after wasting a decade plus of it on your ass. Anyway. Simple thoughts here. You don't need to be an asshole to go move on. You're a girl. You'll be able to shack up with someone else and drain them dry. But if you're going to do this to a dude, you're going to do this to the next dude too. And then the next dude and the next dude, because you're a fucking succubus. And that's the path you're going. And young ladies, if you think this is a good option for you and you're still younger, keep in mind you're not going to be fucking young forever. And what's going to happen is you're going to find a guy with money that doesn't give a shit about you and he's going to treat you like shit. But by then, you're going to be so codependent for your independence that you're fucked. You're going to get treated exactly the way you treated other people, but a lot worse. Because guys see that shit, and by the time you find that dude that's willing to put up with it for a while, that has money, that has all the shit that you want, will let you do whatever you want, he doesn't give a fuck about you. You're there to smash out while he's banging 100 other chicks and leaving you outside of his will after you sign a prenup. Because that guy already has money. He knows better. Anyway, it sounds dickish. And guys, if you're pissed at your girl for whatever reason, and you're letting yourself go in a lot of ways, maybe you should rethink how you're treating your spouse. Because there's other things too. If you're going out and getting fucked up every night and drinking with the boys every night, because you don't like how your wife feels after she had her fourth kid or fifth kid or whatever, that you plugged into her because you couldn't pull out like a man, and you just keep smashing it out, and then you think, she's getting kind of fat. while you got a beer gut and you're out there smoking reefer and playing poker, getting drunk and watching NASCAR while she does a bunch of shit around the house because you go to your 8 hour a day job, bust your ass, and your wife has worked the same amount of shift at home taking care of your kids in your household. If she doesn't have a part-time job, because let's be real, single income life in this day and age is very difficult, uh, maybe you should rethink yourself before she upgrades. It's a two-way street, fucker. So don't think that you're the only one here. Yeah, guys, we get the shorter end of the stick about 90% of the time in this country, but the fact of the matter is, it is a two-way street. Anyway, let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments. How can this be corrected? What would you suggest to this fella? How should he broach this to his wife in a way that's not going to cause a fight? Because I wonder if he broke it down to her that way and had that conversation that way. Because I don't know how he approached the conversation with her. Maybe he was a dick. Maybe he was polite. If you're posting something like that, the way he worded it sounded like he was probably pretty polite, and he's just kind of whipped into he's. It doesn't sound like he's had the best experience in a marriage, and it might be for the better that he vacates. The problem is, how do you do that without her taking your shit? Could you make an argument, if you're a lawyer out there, could you make an argument that getting that permanent tattoo is a form of infidelity or a contract breaker, a deal breaker for the contract? I don't know what you call it. Is there a clause in the contract somewhere, the marriage contract, where the wife's not doing what she should be doing? I know that you can leave your spouse for not getting laid in some places because it's part of the marriage contract. It's assumed in marriage during the contract that you're going to put out for your spouse on a regular basis. Most people don't push it because there's a stigma about sex and being creepy. But the other part of that is if you're not taking up that kind of the contract, if you're not taking care of your spouse's needs and they're banging somebody else, does that make them wrong or you wrong? I think it makes both of you wrong. I don't know. I'm just some guy. Anyway, stuff to think about. It's not politics, finally, for fuck's sake. I'm Mood Juice Magic, and I love you in the face. And if you're having issues with your spouse, my best suggestion is try to have a nice, quiet talk with them. If that doesn't work, try to get them into marriage counseling with you. But if they're really resistant on going, tell them it's to help them, to help yourself out. Approach it from an air of humility, and this works on either side. And then when you go in, be open-minded and actually try to fix it instead of just blame everybody else for your shit. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later.